lot to talk about, but they kind of just, they go hand in hand. That's the thing. It's like pick one or the other, or both, and explain why. It's like they just go together. Anything, but you can say why they don't.
All right, so we're going to wrap up a couple topics here to fill in maybe some detail that the textbook covers with some of the financial crisis stuff. So I selected a couple things to spend a little bit more time on. And then we're going to watch cartoon. Yeah, you're gonna like this one, man.
It's a cartoon about capital flows or something.
It is one that I've never shown before, so it's a new one. So it's not. I'm not rehashing.
How many pages of links do you have in that document?
I don't know. I've never counted. I think there's got to be at least 5.
5 pages.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to start off today with the shadow banking system. That's got a nice dark ring to it, doesn't it? The shadow banking system. So, it's got that name because it's not really banking. So with banking, what's the key thing that goes on with banks? How do they make money? Loaning money that they get interest on. That's half the puzzle. Where do they get their money from?
Deposits.
Deposits. That's the other key ingredient, right? So non-banks like Goldman Sachs and investment banks and other places, they are non-depository institutions. So if you take deposits from people like that, then you're engaging in what the United States calls banking. And so they call this the shadow banking system because it's kind of related on how the funds flow through. So the shadow banking system is made up of non-depository financial firms. So, for instance, the hedge funds we talked about last time, and investment banks. What do investment banks again do? What's kind of their primary role? Yeah, kind of big company, new initial stock offerings, right? Bringing new companies that want to go public. They'll package the deal up and send it to Wall Street. They'll take on some risk when they do that. So that's part of what they do. So these two things end up getting kind of intertwined. So funds flow through the financial system that affect banks and non-banks. This is almost kind of a dumb statement, but we kind of got to keep our hats on straight of different agents that are participating. Okay, so for example, suppose Goldman Sachs wants to borrow funds from a bank. So Goldman Sachs is a company, just like Caterpillar can go to the bank and ask for a loan. Goldman Sachs can go to the bank and ask for a loan. And so what's the banker likely to say when somebody comes to them for a loan? Got your banker hat on, not the non-bank hat, but the Goldman Sachs is coming to the bank for a loan. What's the banker going to say to them? Good. Okay, so look for collateral. We'll kind of analyze it. Maybe there's enough for operations of some sort, depending on the type of loan. But collateral is likely to be one of the primary things it's going to look for. So Goldman Sachs has some collateral. They've got mortgage-backed securities. Remember those little guys. So suppose Goldman Sachs wants to borrow from a bank. They have MBSs. I think I defined that last time. You guys can write it out again if you want. Mortgage-backed securities. They have mortgage-backed securities for collateral. And so Goldman Sachs is thinking they want to borrow some funds to go do some other activity that they think they can make money on. They're currently making some money on the mortgage-backed securities, but as we know, they're just paying that 8% interest or whatever. And Goldman Sachs thinks that there's some other up-and-coming firms that they can invest in that's going to be like a 30% rate. And so if they could somehow leverage that, they could make some additional funds. Okay, so that's the setup for it. So your book talks about a haircut. So the bank may ask Goldman Sachs to pledge more than 100% of the value of the debt of the loan amount. So building on this, for example, they might say, hey, I'll give you $100 million, but I want $110 million of your mortgage-backed securities pledged as collateral. Now, why would they do that, or why would they insist on that? Why wouldn't they just say, oh, 100% is fine? What's that?
Like in case they defaulted on the payment to get, they get a little bit of return.
Okay, good. So only on the default case. So when you have a collateral situation like that, bear in mind that Goldman Sachs is going to continue to collect the funds off those. They've merely just pledged them as collateral. So from a cash flow standpoint, nothing changes on that end. We've just used up part of our collateral to pledge for this other activity. However, if Goldman gets in trouble and if there's a default, the bank's only recourse, assuming they didn't get some other sort of guarantee behind it, but we're letting these mortgage-backed securities be the only recourse back to the bank. They want to get more than 100%. Why? In other words, Goldman Sachs defaults. They have a rightful claim to the mortgage-backed securities that covers the debt, in theory. Why would they ask for more than that to cover their $100 million loan? They're asking for $110 million of mortgage-backed securities.
In case the market for mortgage-backed securities plummets, that way they actually get the value of their loan.
Right, right. So there's risk inherent in taking that type of collateral, and so they might ask for that extra amount. So, so for example, maybe $110 million dollars of MBSs are used to secure a $100 million loan. And this is called taking a haircut. So GS takes a haircut of 10% or 10 million. So that lingo is kind of used when maybe the initial conversations take place. You know, the CEO of Goldman Sachs calls up Wells Fargo and says, hey, I'd like to do a $100 million deal. Talk to me. I got these mortgage-backed securities, and hey, you're going to be looking at about a 10% haircut, right? Or 20% haircut or 50% haircut. And then he can shop around and he calls up JP Morgan Chase and says, hey, I want to do this type of loan. What can you do for me? Well, we'll do a 5% haircut. And so that terminology is kind of the shortcut method to describe this going on. And Goldman Sachs wants to take as small of a haircut as possible. Okay? All right, so that concept's mentioned in there. Any questions or comments there?
Can I say something? It's regarding Goldman Sachs, it just jogged in my mind.
Yeah.
So I saw that a friend from high school got their degree at Brown Mackey College.
Okay.
In Lenexa.
Yeah.
Which
I've passed it on the freeway.
yeah,
I've seen it.
which by translation through ownership, Goldman Sachs is a 43% owner of.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, there's like I guess.
Probably through defaults on loans or something
Well,
like
there's
that.
like an educational management company that owns Brown Mackey and like the Art Institutes, if you guys have heard of that. I think they
Yeah, out in that world, there's for-profits and nonprofits.
Oh, yeah.
So Ottawa's a nonprofit, but that's been a big sense of contention out in
Yeah.
the marketplace. Some argue, and I think rightfully so, that the for-profits provided education a lot more efficiently and did some good things right because of competition, and actually as we've learned about in econ class, trying to chase that profit, the profit incentive worked for gaining efficiency, delivering new innovative products to the market. University of Phoenix is an example, that's a for-profit company. But then on the flip side, when things downturn in other places, they're like, is that the right place to have profits? And can we do it better? So kind of interesting marketplace that Ottawa. President Eichner will talk to you all day long on that because that's what he studies all the time because that's our market that's part of our competition. Okay. I also want, you made me remember, you guys were correct with the downgrade, as you may have known, but I checked it out. Not all of them downgraded though, so it was just S&P. So Moody's and Fitch kept it at the AAA, and S&P still has it rated at the one notch down of AA. There's a little plus by it, but AA. And then in 2014, they upgraded it to stabilized or whatever, which was a slight tick, but they did not re-up it to AAA again. So it's still currently AA, which surprised me. I thought it would have been maybe upgraded, but
That was mostly due to the debt ceiling issue because it looked like we weren't.
that's what it was. And then there was. I'd like to do a little thing as a side, not for this class, but on my own even. Maybe you guys brought it up. There's some little squabble that happened 18 weeks after S&P downgraded. Then the U.S. government sued the S&P for back in 2008 not properly disclosing JP Morgan. Basically, they put the hammer down that they thought they did something wrong with not properly rating some of the stuff we talked about, rating the mortgage-backed securities back in 2008. So the U.S. government people said, "Hey, you can't do that to us," and I'm going to stick it to you. And it sounds like there's a little bit of interesting battle between the bigs out
That's
there.
not surprising.
DC sucks when it's shut down, so that's their fault.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can
that's
speak to that too.
that's
It was
all right. The latter half of your chapter gets into some of the foreign exchange stuff with international crises, and I think they do a nice job of showing how this stuff has shown itself in other countries too, the similarities of how we get into financial crisis. And the one thing I wanted to, I guess, add to the discussion as you read is the speculative attacks on currency markets. We're going to spend a bunch of time later in chapter 21 on international currency, where we'll get into supply and demand, and we'll talk about more detail. But I've got, I just want to go through the basics without getting into supply and demand of what that speculative attack looks like. So,
did that just finish chapter 9?
this is still chapter 9. Yeah, this is towards the back end of chapter 9 where they bring in, part of what contributes to the financial crisis is currency issues, especially with developing countries like Mexico and some other places. All right, so here's your speculative attack. Suppose we've got, maybe America here. We're just going to use generic. And maybe we got the Thai bots over here, A's and B's. And our normal marketplace, as a matter of just doing business, has currency A and currency B, the bots, We've got, you know, bots being traded for currency A going back and forth. And the markets are such that there's tending to be downward pressure on the bot. So it's going to want to depreciate. So in I think I'll start writing this over here. So with a free market, let's say that there's more B's for A's going on. And that's going to lead to depreciation of which currency. If the markets are leaning towards more and more B's are being needed for A's, which currency is depreciating? The B's, right? So depreciation of B. So it's going down in value. Okay, so if we have a free market system, that would be how the currencies adjust for each other, depending on the underlying fundamentals of supply and demand. However, if the Thai government wants to protect the baht and not let it go down in value, then they can intervene. And so if we've got the central bank here, so this is the central bank for Thailand, country B. Maybe I should say for B instead of, so we're not confusing too much of this. The central bank, they can, over the course of time, they can acquire other countries' currencies. And so they might have some of these A's that they can add to the market. So they can start to intervene and make up the difference. So they bring their own A's to market to keep it maybe a one-to-one basis, right? And bear in mind, they're effectively buying their own currency back, right? So they're the central bank, they're taking these B's in, and so that's their intervention. So, intervention. They brought their A game, yeah. So central bank sells A's on the market, on the open market, to maintain the value of B, their currency. And this can work fine. So they might be maintaining a one-to-one relationship by continuing to do this. However, they can't continue to do it indefinitely. Why? You run out of A's. That's not your currency. So you've kind of, over the course of history, the course of time, maybe Thailand's economy was good and they ended up getting some foreign currency reserves that were built up pretty high, but eventually they're going to run out. So that's one of the key things here is we can't do forever. Can't do forever. We will run out eventually. Run out of A's at some point.
Isn't that a costly process also?
To intervene? No, that's not actually too costly. So there would be some sort of transaction cost, but it would literally be nothing different than calling up a broker and saying, "Hey, I want to sell some of my A's."
So then they've built up these reserves. They're not purchasing the A's at the price of the B.
That's right. Yeah, this is a stockpile of A's. So over time, they've been able to accumulate A's in their little vault over here on account.
It's one of the accounts.
Right. When we start to analyze the kind of the balance sheets there, so all governments major governments carry inventories of currency. The Federal Reserve does, and they'll have an inventory of that. Okay, so enter our speculator. So here's the speculator. So the speculator comes in over here. So the speculator. So the speculator comes in and says, I don't think they can do this forever. And they're going to eventually have to, this currency is overvalued. It should be going down, but it's not because it's not on a free market. They're intervening with it. And so the speculator can borrow some B's. I should be keeping this better color coordinated, and convert to A's. So the speculator can go to Thailand and do some borrowing, and they can get themselves some B's, right? And then they're going to bring these B's to the market. And guess what that starts to do? It speeds up the process, right? So now the market's being flooded by the speculators with this currency, and the bank has to keep letting out the A's to maintain the value of the currency. Got that part? Still with me?
What do you have convert to A?
In the marketplace, they're gonna sell, borrow. But the key is they're gonna borrow B's if they don't have them. They can go borrow money, and they'll be sitting on some B's, and then they're going to go to the market with the B's. And they're effectively getting A's now. The A's are coming part from the central bank, part from maybe somebody else over here. They don't care. They're just starting to acquire A's. So they are acquiring A's.
Why do they want
We'll get there in a second. I think that'll come together.
They're basically speculating on the fact that they're waiting for the currency to crash, and after it crashes, they're going to convert that and pay off the bond.
Hopefully, yeah, that's their idea. And we got to think of kind of in the meantime, they're taking on some risk, but how much risk are they actually taking on? So for the speculation, how that plays out is we've got the borrowing of B, which is really buying A. Borrow B to buy A, which is what we just said up here. And then we can do a little, where's that going to lead us? That's got kind of two results to it. The first result might be that these guys ended up having enough to just stabilize the currency, or maybe some other underlying fundamentals changed, and the bot started to recover through normal circumstances. So we kind of want to play out, well, what happens if it remains stable? So the currency remains stable. If that happens, how hurt is the speculator?
The only thing that they have to pay for is interest.
Interest, maybe some transaction costs, right? So really, there's not too much loss on the speculator's part if he has to undo what he did, right? So remember, he borrowed B, so one thing he'll have to pay a little bit of interest on the borrowings that he had. He's going to convert it back. Maybe there was if the exchange rate was fixed, there won't be any issue. They'll get it back at the same amount. And then, again, some transaction cost, operating costs. So currency remains stable. The main thing here is that there'll be kind of minimal to no loss by selling A back. Again, you might want to put down there maybe be some little bit of interest costs and operating costs.
Was the financial crash video that talked about leverage, visual?
The visual, yeah, that's at the beginning of that one. We watched that. I think that was when you were gone. When did we watch that? Monday? Yeah, I think it was Monday. But yeah, at the front end of that video, it goes down. All right, now to the speculators' hopes. Maybe they have to devalue. So the central bank runs out. If the central bank runs out, they're going to be forced to devalue the currency or allow it to go free, and then this overvalued baht's going to drop like a rock, right? It's going to depreciate. And if they run out, they are forced to devalue. We'll talk more about devalue and depreciate, but basically, if a central bank is manipulating the currency, we call it a devaluation, allowing it, they're going to say, we used to have it at a 1-to-1 basis, now it's going to be 2-to-1 basis. Call that a devaluation. Depreciation and appreciation are through free market forces that the currency is changing on its own. Okay, so the central bank runs out, they're forced to devalue. So how does the rest of that play out? I think I can sneak this in here. So let's kind of run through the process here. If we borrow 100 Bs to begin with, this is our little example, just putting some real numbers in here, how this shakes out. So if the speculator borrows 100 Bs and converts it to 100 As, meaning that the currency exchange rate was 1-to-1. 1 A equals 1 B, right? So I borrowed 100 Bs and I got myself 100 As. If we have the devaluation, maybe it goes to 1A equals 2B. So now, I still have 100 A's, but when I convert it back to B's, how many do I got? 200. I pay back my loan of 100, and I'm left over with 100. I doubled my money through this little maneuver. So that's the idea of how what the speculator's looking for in the case of this. So 1A equals 1B. These 100 A's get turned into 200 B's because of the new valuation, minus the $100 or the 100 bahts that we owed from the borrowing, and we get 100 of B. And if we're a speculator and we like country A, then maybe we'll just only sell back 50 of the B's to pay off our debt, and we'll just keep the A's, right? We can go kind of either way, it doesn't matter. So that's just expressing the gains from trade or the gains from the speculation in terms of the baht. Okay, there's a really famous story. I don't even remember all the details. I don't think it was this class before, but it was in international econ. John, pull on your master memory. It was George Soros. He basically broke the bank doing this maneuver. He was like a multi-billionaire, and he did this maneuver, and he forced them to devalue. This was against the pound, I think, the British pound. But
there's a couple of examples. I remember specifically one of these situations that caused an entire Mexican financial crisis.
yeah, and this has happened. So in your book, you're going to see where the currency thing works into Argentina and Mexico and other places. So that's kind of a common thread that we see where the speculators say the underlying fundamentals aren't solid here for this to continue to happen. And then you can see once maybe a big player starts doing it, the other guys come in too, and they start feeding. It's kind of a feeding frenzy where we're all doing the same thing, and we can make that currency crash. And that's what happened with the Mexican peso too back in the 90s. So, okay, any other questions or comments?
Joking about this is more of the return of the
Yeah, I mean, the difference here is that it's caused by government intervention in the first place.
No, that makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
saying it's sped up, I guess.
So do you have to be really naturally dealing in the currency that's going to fail in order to, I mean, is that how it works? Or
Say that again.
so, I mean, the people that you're talking about, were they, Mexican businessmen that originally, or did they just go to Mexico and get loans and then they started borrowing?
I'm sure there was a little bit of, there could be domestic people that are trying to turn a buck on the situation too. I mean, yeah, but I think a lot of times it's just the foreign, bigger players that are out there to try to throw their weight around.
Because I mean, for us, if like we wanted to do that, we'd have to, like if, say the Mexican peso's going down in value to really profit off of it, we have to have debt in Mexico.
Right. And that's where, that's where you have to get back to the underlying fundamentals of what am I going to be stuck with. But this isn't too bad of a deal if they're going to try to push it for the short term and then have that exit strategy. That is fixed, yeah. We'll spend a lot of time on 21, but that's right.
But they have so many assets. I would say so much more than the United States.
But in that case, there's pressure for that one to appreciate. It should have went up, not down. They were keeping it fixed so that we could keep buying little plastic stuff from them for a number of years, little toys and stuff. They were feasting off of our desire for those inexpensive Chinese goods. Okay, cartoon time.
Is that it for today?
This cartoon's related to this. This is a cool cartoon.
No, I mean, like, are we done?
Oh yeah, for notes, yeah, the notes are done.
And that's chapter 9?
That's chapter 9, yeah.
It's 15 pages, though.
Oh wow, it is 15. Yep, there you go. Well, I don't know how big this font is. I just kind of keep. Well, there's different sizes on one of these days. I'm going to organize this a little better, but it's just so much easier to just kind of throw it at the end each time I do it. Okay, where am I here? There it is. Okay, so we won't have enough time to get through this. I was hoping to get through basically the first 15 minutes, which it looks like we will.
So this is the American dream.
I don't know if Explore is the best one, dude. I think I'm going to change this to... Is that me?
Yeah. Does that count?
That counts, yeah.
Good point back.
I don't even know. I got this... I got a replacement phone yesterday. All right, I'm going to switch to... this thing's awesome. Okay. I'm going to switch back to... Chrome will give us probably a more stable viewing experience.
Yeah, I'm just going to pass this there.
Actually,
Yeah, that's fine. Why don't you guys do that? That's a good idea. All right, this is for mature audiences only, by the way. So you might not want to have your little cousins and nieces sit down around the table and do this. It's not too bad, but there's a couple adult types.
What is this, like Chucky or something?
Better not be
Please rate this video, thanks.
Oh, wow. So that's how that happens. It's like I'm getting my point.
Sorry, Chelsea.
work something out, okay? I mean, you said I'm like a credit guy, right? Hey, wait! My dad is in here! No! Don't take my dream! Oh, how did this happen? Artist? Is that you? Been a long time since I sold games. Is that a time machine? There's no need to concern yourself with my stamp accomplishments. Best get in. There's not much time. I gotta go down to the bank and get my life back. They took everything. Oh, bank ain't gonna help you now. Down in the trunk. Just a set of balls. Put them off and go. You're gonna get my truth back? No problem. You are. I'm here to show you how. Submitted for your approval. 1. First National Bank. What is a bank, you ask? A curious place where both space, time, and honor exist. And yet, don't. You gonna be doing that all the time? Pay attention. Exhibit A. Those who have come to deposit and safely store their earned monies. Exhibit B. Those who need to borrow said money for purposes unknown. Hey! That's me! There you go. Exhibit C. The bank only has so much money in the vault to lend out to people such as you. Hey, that's the guy. He took my house. Really stole my vibe here, pal. Space-time continuum. He can't hear. Just let me narrate. Where was I? So you see, by the time he got to Eden Pile, his bank was out of money. But he gave me lots of money and charged me a lot of interest. Yes, that's the only way banks make money, by making debt loans. Debt equals money. Remember that. Debt equals money. The more loans they make, the more money they make. But if they don't have any money, then where did my money come from? You're going to want to take a step back. Whoa! No way! Yes, sir. And that's nothing. Hey, buddy, need some money? They didn't do that. Oh, they did exactly that, pal. Remember, banks make money by making loans, by selling debt, even to bad credit risks. Yo, have some money, dude. Just sign here. Oh my gosh! They call it free money. Yeah, that's exactly what my loan guy told me. Free money. But it ain't free. The worst part was offering money to people who don't even need it. People power like you. You're right. I didn't need him. I was happy here. I didn't need it. Why is he sad? He's making all that money. Shh. He's thinking. I'm waiting for it. Bingo. See, the bank is loaned to everyone in town. But to make more money, they have to loan even more. More? How much money do they need? More. Well, what's that? Oh, a black horse, right? Credit card. Wow, look. I mean, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. What now? Now, I with all this money, you might as well party. Oh, this is awesome! I needed to get my head clear. When I get back, I'm gonna straighten all this out. I just hope Dream is doing okay.
I'm going to get you, my pretty.
Yep, he is. I'm sure he is. You put it on his tab. There was something to say about it. Wait. You know, wait a second, Hunter. I just thought of something. If I got this money from the bank, and the bank got it from the Federal Reserve,
Reserve duck traps. Go on. Then where does the Federal Reserve get their money? Real nice time, ladies. Real nice. Excuse me while I borrow. Say, why am I wearing a burglar bikini top? Because no one is allowed inside the Fed. Not you, not me, no American citizen, no newly elected member of our Congress, not the Supreme Court, not the Supreme Court, not the Supreme Court, not the Justice Department, not the CIA, DIA, FBI, ATF, ATE, NBC, not even G-O-D. How come the government isn't allowed inside its own building? Government? Ah, the Fed is a private bank owned by private stockholders. Do not let the name Federal fool you. This place is about as federal as Federal Express. A private bank? A private? Shh. Let's keep your voice down, pal.
This is Ethan, Federal Reserve.
Hey, Bill here, First National.
Hi there, Bill. How are you?
Good, good. We're running a little low on money.
No problem. How much you need?
Oh, how does 20 million sound? What?
Excellent. We'll ship it over first thing tomorrow.
Wait, he can just call up the Fed and ask for more money and they give him whatever they want? No, Pop. The Fed don't give the banks money. The Fed loans the banks money. The banks have to pay it back with interest. Come on, talk it over. Wait. I still don't understand. Where does the Fed get their money? I mean, if they're a private bank. You said they're a private bank, right? Okay, so who puts money into the Fed bank?
This is Mel, United States Mint.
I am Mel. First National needs another 20 millies.
We're already running the presses full steam here, Ethan.
You gotta keep making loans. Gotta keep the money flowing.
All right, you're the Fed. Whatever you guys say. 20 million more. I'm mourning.
But I don't get it. What's so wrong about the Fed printing money? Because it's unconstitutional, Pa. Our treasury is supposed to create our money, but now the Fed controls the printing of America's money. Nobody gets a friggin' dollar that the Fed didn't print. So, they print the money, and then they loan it to the government, then they charge the government interest, then the government taxes you to pay for it. Wake up, Pa. God, I don't see what the big deal is. You know, you're right, Pa. Wait, I am? There. I forget how effective they are in keeping you ignorant. Well, it's okay. Hey, I'm not ignorant. Do you even know what money is, Pa? In the long ago, people bartered. They traded things they had for things they wanted. I'll trade you my raspberries for that there pot pie. I don't like your berries. Oh, sweet berries. They're not sweet. They're old, and I don't like berries. They're not pot pie. No. As you can see, this bartering situation created some problems. Then one day, a goldsmith walked up and said, "Now, everybody thinks gold is valuable, so why doesn't everybody trade gold for things they need?" The price was set for gold, and now it was very easy to conduct commerce because people could trade gold for all the things they needed. Marvin! Wow, look at all my gold! Hey, stop them! That's my gold! Damn, thieves! Say there, Kyle, I've got a vault in cigars. I can keep your gold safe for you. Third small thief. Yeah, sure, that'd be awesome. You see, Kyle, this is how the first banks made money. There you go, Kyle. I owe you 100 gold coins. Okay, great. Come back anytime and redeem your gold when you want. It'll be right here in my vault. Now you're holding the very first paper money, Kyle. Wow, this is great. It all makes sense. Oh, that's right. It was good. Everybody started using IOUs because everybody knew the IOU was as good as gold. Wow, this candy is really a good price. One IOU. I'm getting some more for later. Hey, wait a minute. It's just one IOU. 10 IOUs for chocolate? You can't just raise prices like that. Oh, the candy man can. Oh, the candy man can. Wait, that is just freaking wrong. It's called inflation, pile. Makes your IOUs worth less and less until they are worth nothing. Less bang for the buck. $1 ain't what it used to be. But I That's right, he's good. See, he prints more IOUs without any more gold, loans them out for interest, makes a pretty penny, and nobody is the wiser. Unless everybody wanted their gold back at the same time. No, that's my goal. Anymore. What are you talking about? I like to redeem my IOUs, please. Thank you very much. Hey! I want my gold back now! Thief! I love the bank run, bringing people together. See, they all found out he was stealing, made a run of the bank and demanded their gold, as you can see. They ain't no gold to get. Pardon? Don't worry about it. Back in these times, vengeance is no yours. 3 things in this world you don't do. Never mess with another man's woman. Never mess with another man's ego. And most importantly, you will never mess with another man's money. Else, man will mess with you. My God! You hung him? Yes, ma. Oh, we hung him high. And you know why? Because he was a thief? Because, Pa, an evil invention was born. Man discovered how to turn worthless paper into gold. Thus was invented the ultimate machine to steal real money and enslave all the nations on earth. It's alive! Oh, now come on. You're just being dramatic. I mean, I lost my house, but what is that? Explain.
A nuclear power plant?
Mm-hmm. Produces lots of electricity and little pollution. An invention for the good of humanity.
Okay, but what's this have to do with...
3, 2... Holy atomic energy! A discovery more powerful than anything man had yet conceived. It can be used for good or evil. Now, unlike Einstein, the goldsmith's discovery has been kept a closely guarded secret. It was never intended for you to see. This discovery is called fractional reserve banking. In the wrong hands, it's more powerful than the nuclear bomb. Its ability to completely and utterly destroy a nation who is subjected to its perversion.
Alright, so that's at about the 14-minute mark. It's the American Dream film full length, so you can find it on YouTube if you want. I just wanted to get through the first 15 minutes. The other